Right, we're underway. Shrewsbury School, there on the Berkshire station against Lea Rowing Club on the Buck station. The guys on the pontoon can stand up and stretch for a couple of minutes. The guys in the boats, on the other hand, have some work to do.
And obviously Shrewsbury are the more favoured of the two crews, obviously winning a silver medal at national schools this year. They'll be looking to try and win this event, I'm sure, so they'll probably on paper, they're the strongest of the crews I've mentioned, but they will try to be putting this race to bed as early as possible. But be interested to see Lea, you know, they've all represented GB in the GB France last year in the 8, so, you know, a young combination. I'm sure their ambition is to see how close they can get to the Shrewsbury crew. Hopefully try and make them make a mistake. But obviously they'll be thinking about probably next year's regatta. That would be their kind of ambition to be here in the final.
And Shrewsbury School stretching away already. Keep an eye on Maddie Hollins in the bow seat. Not just this morning, but in the next few years. Very highly rated 16-year-old. A silver medal at the National Schools Regatta this year.
And just the number 3 of the Shrewsbury, Abby Adebayi. I hope I pronounced that right. She's got a scholarship to UCLA this year, so you know, it's a program that I coached at back in 2008 and 2009, so you know, a great location to train, and should be under the tutelage of Amy Fuller, so look forward to seeing her progress at UCLA.
All in all, this Shrewsbury boat is high quality. Silver medalist in the championship girls quads at the National Schools Regatta. One of the strongest domestic entrants, we suspect, and certainly good for that description right now. More than the length leading early in the race.
Yeah, and it's great to see a program of Shrewsbury's stature. You know, it's all about the boys 8, that's always been the thing, but the girls now leading the way, you know, winning a silver medal at national schools and then being one of the top ranked crews for this particular event at Henley. So it'd be interesting to see if they can break the kind of string here and start to move away and open up that clear water. The Lea have to dig in now. They cannot let that gap keep increasing.
So they're, at the moment, hanging on. They're in contention, aren't they, Lea? But they need to make sure they stay in that position.
And that's the thing at Henley, you know, with the dual racing head-to-head, you have to stay in contact no matter what. It could be quite costly, but you want to sense that crew sitting beside you. And just see the wash they hit there. Obviously the river isn't closed, so you'll have vessels going up and down the outside of the course. And being able to adjust to any wash that come in is really important as a crew and not get flustered by it.
So approaching the midway point in this race, and the crowds are already building, aren't they? It's a warm day here in Henley for this time in the morning, not yet 10 o'clock. It's already more than 20 degrees and just the slightest of breezes, but
it's Henley Saturday. It's one of the best Saturdays of the year. Of course you're going to want to be at Henley as early as possible.
Just having a look at the condition. The umpire is getting involved, not surprisingly, because on the Berkshire station the leaders, Shrewsbury School, were just trying to create a little bit of problem for Lea, trailing them in their wake, and they've just come a bit too central and were putting some dirty water in the direction of Lea Rowing Club. It's interesting looking at the water conditions today, Mark, and clearly in these early races you'd expect it to be calm enough, but there's 10-minute intervals between races, and there'll be more pleasure craft running up and down the channel that's open to everybody on the Thames today, just because it's a Saturday. I wonder how the wash will play out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Saturday is a really challenging day, not just because, well, especially for these athletes, they've got 2 races. There is so much craft on the river. You know, there's a lot more hospitality and people watching the racing, enjoying the day and enjoying it being at Henley, so there's more craft generally. The boats themselves don't make massive wash compared to the craft that you'll see on the outside. So there's obviously less races, but there's a lot more kind of boat craft on the outside of the course. So that's what makes it really challenging today, and it gets worse as the day goes on.
At the moment, they're coping with that condition, but Shrewsbury, with their steering, just need to be aware that they mustn't go too central, because the umpire has their eye on them. Shrewsbury School have been warned a couple of times now about their steering. Famous old boys of Shrewsbury School, Mark. Charles Darwin.
Wow, it's a good bit of history there. I did not know that.
So you'd have to say the survival of the fittest, this race. Yeah.
Well, today, especially with 2 races, we keep mentioning it, but it will be the survival of the fittest, especially if you have 2 gut busters. But it looks like Shrewsbury are in control here, and with their class and calibre of what they've shown this year, this is kind of going to the form guide.
Yeah, at the moment, Shrewsbury School dominating this race. And we talked about it a moment ago. They are going to have to monitor their energy expenditure at this stage of the day, because they will be back on the water later on. They've tried to give them as much of a break as possible by putting them first on, and then races 45 and 46 at 7:20 and 7:30. Last 2 races on the water.
And that's such a long day when you think about it. They'd have been up at probably 6 o'clock this morning, maybe earlier, and then they're going to have their first race this morning. Then obviously not racing until 7 o'clock or beyond 7 o'clock tonight.
They've got time to drive back to Shrewsbury.
Yeah, so
Shrewsbury and come back.
Yeah, exactly. It depends where they're staying. So they would obviously try and stay close to the venue somewhere. They may have rented a house for the crew to stay in. They may know some family friends. They will try and get out of Henley, because, you know, it's a great atmosphere, but it can be quite sapping as an athlete. So you want to get out, get off your feet, just maybe have a nap sometime today. You know, it's all about recovery, because they want to come back fresh and ready to go later on this evening, when it will be super intense, because the stewards' enclosure will be packed. There'll be lots of noise. There might be more wash. And also they want to progress onto that big final tomorrow.
It's going quite close again to the middle of the water. The umpire at the moment relaxed, but they are heading now back towards the boom, Shrewsbury. Lea Rowing Club, well, they'll have a long Saturday in a different sort of way, mulling over this result and planning their evening out in Henley.
Yeah, it's all about experience, you know. When you come and compete at Henley, not everybody can win. You know, you can only have 1 winner in each event, and you know, if you do have opportunities and you are, you know, a younger athlete that may has 2 years as a junior, or you're a J16 competing here, you're trying to develop that experience, so when it does come to those really challenging moments, you've gone down the Henley course or up the Henley course, and you understand where moves should be done, and just really know where you are and how to maximize every stroke as you race up the course.
So, in front of stewards now, final few strokes for Charles Darwin's old school. That's a fact of the day.
That's a very good. I'm very impressed with that.
Good. A couple of strokes, and Shrewsbury School are home in the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup against Lea. They've got a long day waiting until their semi-final, around about 7:30 this evening. But well done to Shrewsbury School. Hollins, Page, Adebayi and Moya are through to the semi-finals of the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup at the expense of Lea.